Hello again everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look, very first look, at the brand new PMDG simulations Douglas DC-6 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're here at Manchester Airport, Macca Simulations, Manchester's scenery, and we're cold and dark. I've not gone into the flight deck or had a look around, flicked any switches or anything. This is the first time I'm going to be checking this out, and early on showing you guys the exterior model. It's absolutely stunning. It's a really old aeroplane, but they've done a really amazing job at the textures and the overall look and feel of this. Lots of smaller details as well, and we'll take a look at some of those as we make our way around the aeroplane. It looks fantastic. If you want to get your hands on this, by the way, guys, you can check the links down in the description below, of course, and make sure you hit subscribe and give us a like as well while you're here. On the outside, it looks incredibly cool, really unique and quite special for this sim. First of its kind, and into the flight deck as well. It is quite overwhelming. There are switches, dials and knobs everywhere, and to be frank, I think quite a few of us won't know where to begin with this. I've been watching the PMDG's tutorials on their own YouTube channel, which have been really good, so I highly recommend you guys check those out. And they've kindly given me a few tips on an email that they've sent to me, as they sent me this this copy to share with you guys in a video. They've got a really nice looking EFB on the left hand side, and of course you've got ramp manager, loads of options and everything else. The biggest tip that they've given us is turn all of the realisms off, or keep them all off I should say, until we get used to how the aeroplane works. And of course we have a flight engineer that can help us go through all of our checks there, and a maintenance manager, so we can keep an eye on all of these checks. I'd imagine if we're ragging the aeroplane too much we could blow an engine, so that's where this would really come in handy in flight. We might have to, on the fly, click repair engine 1 if it all goes a bit peak-tong. Same with fluids and things as well. Fuel and payload. That's really cool, I love this. This is fantastic. Engine oil pans, external, so we can turn all of these on, so we can see what it looks like on the outside, and we can turn on like so. That is a cool animation. So much detail. All the engineering ramps and steps for the engines, and of course a little low poly cabin for us to enjoy as well. Let's get rid of all these then. Close the doors up. So, I've started the pre-flight engineer, and you can see things being moved around for us.
Voice recorder.
For the added realism, close that front door.
Auto and position. Fuel and fluids. Checked. Pressurization. Set. Manifold and duct pressure. Checked. Radios.
Let's prep for pushback. I highly recommend, guys, when you try this for the first time, you use the
Checked.
artificial flight engineer.
Doors and hatches.
If you get really stuck and you just want to get used to the aeroplane, you can click ready for taxi and everything will automatically kick in place. So for those of you like myself, you might want to get used to how the aeroplane works first before learning all of the in-depth systems and everything. This is a really good way of doing it. So, after start checklist.
Selected boost pumps. Off and off. Battery switch. Plane battery. Generators and inverters. Checked and on.
This is incredibly cool.
Emergency lights. Armed. Ground power. Removed. After start checks complete.
And we'll do before takeoff checks.
Boost pumps. Boost pumps on low.
So you can hear all the clicking.
Fuel selector and crossfeed. Main tanks and crossfeed off. Autopilot and carb heat. Off and cold. Hydraulic system. Down, forward, pressure and quantity checked. Okay. Flaps 20. Flaps set 20. Windows and turbine. Closed and on. Controls. Gust lock released. Free. Detonator. On. Mixture and cowl flaps.
Landing lights.
Region locked. Set. Transponder. On. Landing lights. Extended and on. Before takeoff checks complete.
So you can taxi this on idle. And it's going to take a lot of learning, so yeah, this is very basic and I'm doing this just to introduce this to you guys. Of course the system depth will require quite a lot of planning and getting used to. Okie dokie, let's go. This used to be able to fly transatlantic as well years ago, bizarrely.
Set cruise power, please. Setting cruise power.
So you can just set the automatic flight engineer to do half of the work for you. Which actually takes quite a bit of pressure off you, because then you can go around and enjoy the aeroplane a little bit more. And you could be flying it whilst looking at all the dials, how they all work and interact with the aeroplane, and exploring all of the different features of the aeroplane here. And there is a lot to cover and learn, of course. We're going to be vectoring ourselves around ever so slightly just for a attempt to try and land this thing at Manchester.
Setting 26 inches.
And you can see I'm letting the automatic flight engineer deal with all the throttle and everything for us, which is a really nice way of enjoying this to begin with.
Set.
And we're flying a bit of a downwind leg, so I'm just controlling aileron and pitch.
Altimeters and flight instruments. Cross-checked. Seatbelt signs on. On.
It's got the ability, of course, to tune ILSs or VORs and things as well.
Descent checks are complete.
And it's got an autopilot. And one of the biggest tips that I found from the PMDG tutorials is that we should be trying to fly in long and low, as I understood it anyway, for ILS approaches and things. 113, 55. Switch that. If we don't get the realism settings quite correct, and we're flying it as realistically as possible, we could blow the engines, we could lose them, we could have all manner of problems, failures and things as well.
Turbine. Normal. Fuel booster pumps. On low. Fuel tank selectors. Mains on, crossfeed off. Hydraulic bypass valve. Down. No smoking signs. On. In-range checks complete.
So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the new PMDG Douglas DC-6 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think this is absolutely stunning to fly. And for those of you who might want the added challenge of trying to maintain a radial engine, or just enjoying something that's really different in the sim, but also exceptionally well detailed and beautifully done, then I really recommend this. And I'm sure loads of people are going to really enjoy it. Naturally, there is a lot to learn and do, and especially as we become more au fait and more familiar with the aeroplane itself, we'll be able to manage more of those systems over time, of course, and that'll allow us to enjoy the depth and the functionality that the DC-6 offers. We're going to try and get her down on the ground, so using the EFB for landing checklist. We're going to have to bring that speed down.
20 flaps set. Mixtures rich, please. Auto rich. Mixtures set. Gear up and down, please. Gear up and down. Plus 3 degrees. Cal flaps set.
We've still got quite a way to the runway. I'm flying nice, low and slow.
ADI off.
8 miles to go.
ADI is off. Landing lights. Speed good.
And of course, as I get used to this, I will allow more functionality
Call, set call.
as well.
Checks complete.
So as I learn things, as I learn how all the other systems work on the aeroplane, I will be making the most of it. I'm going to be planning some live streams for you guys as well using this, and we'll connect using JoinFS. For those of you who might also have the same aeroplane, we'll be able to see each other and we'll be able to do a couple of hops in the Douglas DC-6, which is going to be really cool. I'm trying my best to fly this in with a bit of a nice approach, trying to keep the speeds good. I have got the realism settings all switched off like I was advised, so I'd imagine you guys will probably want to do the same to begin with, save the hassle of those engine failures and things that you may get if you abuse the radial engine and can't maintain it properly, as I certainly probably won't be able to myself for quite a while. We've got the VOR active. You can see the VOR tuned in at the very bottom here, giving us a guidance arrow to the Manchester VOR. We can start our descent in. And then all we've got is the automatic flight engineer to tell us about our after landing checks and things as well. Trying really hard to remember not to idle the throttle, because I remember there was a little thing on the PMDG tutorials that suggested that if you do, you can end up with a reverse blade or something. This is an aeroplane you can definitely tell I'm not used to, because I'm coming in very high. That's a bit better. I'm letting that speed bleed off a little bit. I love how much of a challenge this is going to be to learn. It's going to take a lot of hours getting used to it, but this is amazing to fly. It's really very good. The artificial flight engineer is really helpful. So that's a feature I think PMDG have absolutely nailed. And it just looks stunning. The model, the external textures, the internal stuff as well, the cockpit, everything is just absolutely stunning. And of course it's to be expected, it's PMDG. They've done a fantastic job of it. This is their first aeroplane released for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and yeah, incredible work. Oops. There we go. It didn't flare that much. I remember that being on the tutorial as well. You don't want to flare, you just want to lift the nose ever so slightly just before you touch down. There goes the nose wheel. It's a really long runway, so we could just use some brakes to get us down here. She looks absolutely fantastic. Won't be the best landing of this you'll ever see, guys. There we go. So using the EFB, Artificial Flight Engineer. After landing checks, you can hear all the switches being flicked automatically for us. Which is really handy.
After landing checks complete.
There we are. Got the landing lights off. So there we go, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this little first look introduction to the brand new PMDG Douglas DC-6 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. If you want to get your hands on the aeroplane, then head to pmdg.com and you'll be able to find the DC-6 for Microsoft Flight Simulator there to purchase. In the meantime, hit like, hit subscribe, and keep your eye out for a live stream using this over the next few weeks now that PMDG have released it. Really amazing work by the PMDG team, and thanks to them as well for sending me a copy. Really generous of you to offer it to a channel like myself. And it means that I can bring content to you guys watching, show you how fantastic this aeroplane really is. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. And I hope to see you all in the very near future for a live stream. Thanks for watching.